Thank you all for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast on this Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, depending on where you're going. I mean, if you want to get into it,
that person don't know football. Then
I mean, I'll give you a moment of airtime because did Brock Purdy make the Super Bowl or not?
He sure did.
Yeah, and I predicted that win in week 8 back in October that he would make the Super. Yeah. So what's up, Coy?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Yeah, so I mean, come on, my football knowledge is succinct and in the record book. If you got any question about it now, we can have that discussion too.
No, I don't have any question about it, Cam, because in our season head-to-head, I beat you in correct picks. I beat you in correct picks against the spread.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm 100% positive. And I beat you in the rankings.
Well, this past season, sir.
All 3 facets of the game.
Crap.
This past season was.
It's a complete crap.
Yeah, so we can't count this past season.
And I had a better record than you in fantasy football. You didn't even make the playoffs.
Oh, listen, this guy is. Are you a little salty today still?
Well, I mean,
are you still salty after Wednesday?
You come off the top rope throwing bogus quotes at me, trying to question my football knowledge. Yet I beat you in 4 different categories. I mean, how many different ways can I beat you, Cam?
This guy is still salty.
This guy is still
one thing. Man, right. You guys saw me eat. You guys saw me eating my tri-tip last week, and now Cleveland is still salty about that. You coming? That was days ago. That was days ago.
Go ahead with your chum or your chop or whatever it was called. That's fine.
Chow is chow.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
The full moon barbecue.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to pull that clip up. I'm gonna have to make a video of that clip so I can keep showing you the chow so you don't forget.
Okay.
Fans, again, want to tune in. Cleveland getting me off topic here. Want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. As you know, each and every Sunday, we try to bring you guys just a little content, just different from what we do on a regular Wednesday, where we play all of our games, have our different segments, numbers game. We have This Week in History. We end up with a quote. We're not doing any of that today. It's just strictly content that we're going to jump in today. Cleveland, it's all NBA. All NBA right now today. What we're going to talk about this No Bull Tour. Have you heard of the No Bull Tour? I want to get your thoughts on that. We're going to touch on that one. We're going to touch on NBA parity, Cleveland. And then I got a little quiz for you and the fans. Want to see what you guys know, you specifically, Cleveland, about the top scorers in the NBA. See where your mind's at. See where your head's at. We're going to talk about the top scorers in the NBA. One significant active player continues to ascend on the chart. So we're going to get to his accomplishments, and then we're going to talk about that's going to lead us into some of the top scorers in the NBA. Cleveland, so let's start off with the No Bull Tour, Cleveland. Have you heard about Pippen, Horace Grant, and Luke Longley's tour through Australia? Talking about the No Bull Tour?
You know, I've heard that they've had one. I can't imagine what the content is other than a bunch of Michael Jordan bashing stories and how they didn't get as much credit as they deserved for something they didn't really actually need credit for, is my assumption.
They didn't need credit for you. They didn't. Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant didn't deserve any credit for those 6 championships.
Well, Horace Grant was delusional enough to think that the same rules that apply to Michael Jordan should apply to him as well, and that's just not the truth. So, he got shipped out of town, and they found another guy to replace him, a guy named Dennis Rodman. So,
I mean, well, he was a factor in the first 3. I mean,
he sure was. But if you remember, Horace used to complain that Michael Jordan got to miss practice sometimes, and he never got to miss practice. And Michael Jordan got to bring his family on the bus. He didn't get to bring his family on. It was just equal treatment thing that clearly he doesn't understand what superstar preferential treatment means or what it's about. So, ergo, he's out of town.
Luke Longley. I mean, does Luke Longley have any reason to complain? So for those of you who don't know, just this past weekend, I think it was 23rd and 24th. There's one more coming. They have one more tour stop coming. All of these happen to be in Australia, the country of Australia, first and foremost. That they're having this no bull tour, and it's to dispel or counteract the thoughts that Michael Jordan gave in his The Last Dance segment a few years ago. So I just find the timing kind of interesting. Um, it's also interesting that they didn't bring this to the United States. They didn't bring it to the United States. Not even Canada. Did they bring this tour to Canada or any of the basketball places, basketball hotbeds around the world? You know, French, Europe, or they didn't even go over there with this no bull tour. I find that very peculiar. And yeah, it's probably a lot of MJ bashing. I haven't seen any excerpts of the tour, heard anything about the tour. All I know is Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, and Luke Longley is going to give their thoughts primarily, and I can't imagine that they're all favorable of the Last Dance documentary. Cleveland, um, do you care what they hear? Are you going to be tuned in? Are you looking for this feed on YouTube? Are you tuned in to hear what they have to say about the No Bull Tour?
Completely unconcerned about what they're saying on the No Bull Tour. And like you're saying, it's not something that they would say to Michael Jordan's face. It's something that they have to go all the way to Australia and complain about. So, yeah.
Why do you think now is the time? The pandemic was 2 years ago. Yeah, right about 2 years ago. Was it? No, it was about like 4 years ago. 2020 to 22, right? Is about the pandemic-ish timing. And why do you think they're starting this up now?
Oh, it's a cash grab. We all know Scottie Pippen's not good with his money. So, you know, at some point he has to do something to infuse a little bit more cash. And, you know, this sounds like a good idea. You know, Luke's from that area. So, you know, why not get someone else who didn't like him very much and Horace Grant and get on there and talk about him? Sure. From a distance.
From a distance. Yeah. I'm not sure how the Australian dollar compares to the American dollar, but they went way down there to get just some recognition, huh? Get on the air.
Yeah. Cash grab.
Okay. All right. Cleveland, are you a fan of the parity that is in the NBA today? And let me explain a little bit of this. 8 teams within 13.5 games of first place in the Eastern Conference. So that means there's a gap from between 1 and 8 in 13.5 game gap between 1 and 8. And then the Western Conference between 1 and 10, it's a 10 game gap between first place and the 10th place team. Meaning there's nobody who really jumped out. The Boston Celtics do have the best record in the league, the whole league. But there's teams that are close enough within striking distance. Now, Boston would obviously have to fall off considerably for some of these teams to catch them, specifically the teams that are 13 games out of first place. But they would have to have a significant drop-off for them to catch them, meaning that there is a gap there, but it's, you know, I think Brooklyn being 23 games down is unsurmountable gap. Brooklyn's not going to narrow that gap. Well, they may narrow it, but they're not going to be in contention of number 1 seed, if you know what I mean. They do have an 8 game lead on the number 2 team in the Eastern Conference, which is the Cleveland Cavaliers. But you go from Cleveland all the way to Indiana or Miami, there's only a 5 game gap between number 2 and number 8 team in the Eastern Conference. Meaning all those teams are right there in contention, if you will. Do you like this parity in the NBA, or do you like it when there's a dominant team? When the Bulls, speaking of the dominant teams, were, you know, head and shoulders above everybody else, or the 17 Warriors were head and shoulders above everybody else. Are you a fan of that, of those teams, more so than the parity we see in the Eastern Conference today?
No, I like the parity. The Eastern Conference is still a little bit top heavy. I mean, it's really about the top 4 teams. It really shows itself a little bit more pronouncedly in the Western Conference, where you have 4 and 5 or 3 and 4 basically tied with the same record, and then after that, 6, 7, and 8 are pretty much within a game or two of each other. And right now, the play-in 9 and 10 is Golden State and the Lakers. So that's a pretty rough patch to go. I think I'm a little bit more excited about the fact that the regular season down the stretch is going to mean something, because the seeding is going to be very significant with how the playoffs ultimately play out. So there could be some teams that are, I don't want to say they're tanking, but maybe don't necessarily want to be in the the 6 or 7 spot. Maybe they would like to fall to the 8 spot, because at present the Minnesota Timberwolves are the number 1 seed. Wouldn't it be better to play Minnesota Timberwolves than, say, the Denver Nuggets in the first round? So to kind of see how that whole seeding and posturing plays itself out is more entertaining than if there was just one team that was 73-9 for the whole season.
Yeah, there's going to be some posturing going on, certainly as it stands as of today. We're looking at a 3 and 6 seed matchup with the Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. And the Dallas is one of those teams that have the Clippers number. We're looking at your Zion Williamson led Pelicans. We're going up against the defending NBA champions and the Denver Nuggets.
First round gonna cost somebody their job, thinking that the Pelicans should do better, should get out of the first round. But unfortunately, they're playing the Joker first round.
As you mentioned, the playing games will see the Sacramento Kings and the Sacramento Kings. I thought you guys be better than what you are playing. But the Sacramento Kings against the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant. And then we see LeBron James against Steph Curry in the second play-in tournament. I think this would be oddly enough, this would be their second time meeting in a play-in tournament, right?
No, they beat them in the second round last year.
But the year before they were in the play-in tournament. These two teams play in the tournament, if I think. So this is oddly enough, this would be their second time meeting in this play-in tournament. So I think the Eastern, you say it's kind of top heavy. I mean, only the Celtics, again, they do have an 8-game spread between the number 2 team, but number 2 to number 13, that's only a 5-game difference there.
Tremendous difference in talent, though. after you leave Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, and whoever is in 4th place. I'm sorry, Cleveland is still up there, so I think there's somewhat of an aberration. I really think it's just a 3-team race. I think it's the Celtics, the Bucks, and the Sixers are the only teams that can legitimately win the Eastern Conference. You can always, look to your guy, the playoff legend, Jimmy Butler, to kind of come in and interrupt and disrupt some things. He, certainly has shown that ability to do that over the years, but that's really what you're looking at over there. I don't have any confidence in the Knicks. I don't have any confidence in the Cavs. My dude, the Prince of the 206, Paulo, is doing great things, but they're not ready to take that step. Indiana got better by getting Siakam, but they're probably at least a year or 2 away from really making some noise over there. So I still think it just comes down to 3 teams over there, where in the West is kind of a wide open type of a situation.
Well, I appreciate you for breaking that down, but I'm gonna have to go against you right now. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell, the 2 big men, they're 7-3 of their last 10 games. Mm-hmm. To move into second place in the Eastern Conference. You have no confidence in what they can do?
Well, Cam, you probably didn't know what you just did there. You said Donovan Mitchell and the 2 big men.
I mean, what does that mean?
I'll give you some names. It's Allen and Mobley, but
Okay.
they're such obscure names that you couldn't actually say their names. You had to say Donovan Mitchell and the two big men. So that in and of itself is kind of an answer to your own question.
That was pretty slick of you right there. That was pretty slick of you. I didn't have to speak of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland kind of are the motors of that team. And with Donovan Mitchell, he coming over from Utah. The kind of the book on Donovan Mitchell is that he didn't play defense, right? And that he was only a scorer, correct? That was kind of the book on him. Well, he has Mobley and Allen behind him, who are more defensive than offensive on their team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Better rebounders. So he has that kind of covered in a sense there, where Garland can get him the ball and allow him to kind of do what he's best at. Why don't you think that's been working the last couple of weeks? Why don't you think that's enough to kind of take him to a different level in the NBA or in the playoffs?
Well, I think they're susceptible to a first round loss. And once they get to the second round, I don't think that Donovan Mitchell has shown the ability to carry a team and put him on his back and take them past the second round. So what I see from Donovan Mitchell is that he has a few games in the playoffs where his scoring is off the charts. And then he has a few games where all that volume shooting comes back to haunt them and they don't pull out a victory. And suddenly they're in a situation where they're turning to him to kind of make things happen. And he seems to wilt under the pressure, if I'm just being perfectly honest. I remember his response to the comments that he hasn't shown that ability, and he got very sensitive about it. So the only way to stop people from talking about you, I'm sorry?
Go ahead. Finish
the only way to stop people from talking about you is to get past the second round.
I mean, well, you can't. You have to do it, right? You don't do it until you don't do it until you do it, right?
Right.
And so this might be his best opportunity. Like I'm saying, he has some more defenders behind him. Like they're giving him the ball, they're not expecting him to do much more than score the basketball. So, I'm not ready to poo-poo their opportunities. Also, you talked about the Knicks. You have no confidence in the Knicks. You don't have any confidence in Jalen Brunson and what he's done. You don't see any growth or development that he's had over the last season and a half. With the Dallas Mavericks in this opportunity, now with the New York Knicks in this opportunity, the trade of getting Precious Achiuwa and OG Anunoby kind of really helps him out. Give them some defense, give them some scoring. They are missing Randall. They do need Randall to come back. It would be nice if they can get Mitchell Robinson back in the fold. That would certainly help them out. But you see them getting being dusted off in the first round as well?
No, not necessarily, Cam. But this is when we get to the cruel part of the season, the harsh realities of the National Basketball Association. And what seed are the Knicks at presently?
The Knicks are in the fourth seed, so they'll be facing the Philadelphia.
Second round, who would they be facing?
I mean, they're not the fourth. Who's the fourth seed facing the second seed, the Cleveland Cavaliers?
No. They would be playing the Boston Celtics, one against 4. So, can they get past the Boston Celtics? Is that your question?
Well, that's not really a question.
Well, if that's not really a question, then the answer is they're a second round team at best. And no, I don't think Jalen Brunson can carry them past the Boston Celtics this year.
Yeah, that might be a lot to ask. So then that leaves the Philadelphia 76ers, who you don't have any respect for either, or you not enough respect to mention their names in this playoffs competition in Eastern Conference.
I did. I said they were one of the top 3 teams. I said it comes down to Boston, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. Of course, we have no idea what Joel Embiid is going to be able to give once he comes back from surgery. I mean, hopefully he's a fast healer and can get up to speed fairly quickly, because there's no time to wait around. If he can't do it, if he can do it, he's bringing 35 points a game, right? But if he can't, then What are their chances of getting
my
past the second
concern
round?
is that he's going to come back. He's not going to be in shape enough to really make it. You know, if he's looking at 2 months and he went down last month, so we're looking at it's we're going into March now. If he's not coming back until April and trying to take the first 2 weeks in April to get into game shape, when the first round of playoffs, like he may not be all the way there enough to contribute. That's my concern, is that he won't be healthy enough to contribute during playoff time, which certainly impacts their playoff effectiveness. Cleveland, is there a team, kind of a spinoff of this first question? You say you like the parity in the NBA. Is there a team of the decade? I mean, we're 2024, so we're early in the decade. But is there one team of the decade? Like right now, you kind of have to give it that nod. Again, we are early into the season, but I mean, the defending champs look like they're the best. This team best situated to be recognized as a team of the decade, because they're certainly going to be a factor in the Western Conference, right? In the playoffs. They've been there. They won the championship last year. They were there the year before. So, is there a team of the decade? Would you say? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be in the Western Conference. Can the Celtics be? They're like the Philadelphia Eagles of the McNabb Philadelphia Eagles, where they've been in Eastern Conference Finals for consecutive years in a row. Are they the team of the decade? Who would you label the team of the decade if you had to label one right now?
I think it would be the Denver Nuggets, but that would be us projecting what they potentially could do for the rest of the decade. To start the decade, 4 different teams have won the NBA Finals, so you can't really say there's one team that definitively stands out. That was an excellent comp to your point. The Celtics have been to the Eastern Conference Finals multiple years in a row. So if they were actually able to get over the hump and get a chip or two, you certainly would have to look that direction as a potential possibility. But right now, if we're just projecting, it would be the Denver Nuggets. Have the most upside and the most opportunity to be the team of the decade.
And we know who leads the Nuggets is Nikola Jokic. And if we look back at the past 5, I mean, it's 5+ MVPs of the National Basketball League, right? They've been foreign-born players, right? Can you name the MVPs?
Joel Embiid, the Joker, and Giannis.
That's the last 5 players, or the last 3 players. Giannis didn't win back-to-back. Nobody's won it back-to-back, right?
Joker won back-to-back, didn't he?
Did he?
I believe so. I thought Embiid was the one that kind of stopped the run.
Okay. When do we expect to see American-born player win the MVP, and who might that be?
It's potentially could happen in the next couple of years. The odds-on favorite would be Jason Tatum, if he's able to continue to accelerate his game and play at a high level.
So it's gone Joel Embiid, Giannis won back-to-back. Nikola Jokic won back-to-back, and Giannis won back-to-back. So the last 5 have been foreign-born players, with James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Stephen Curry, who won back-to-back, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Derrick Rose, LeBron James. So Dirk would be in the last foreign-born player in 2006 and 2007 to win MVP. So it's been MVP for the last 5 years have been foreign-born players. And my question to you is, the next American player to win MVP, you say Jason Tatum. Yeah, if they end up, I mean, he's kind of speaking it into existence now, saying that coming off the All-Star break that if they get a chip, he deserves to be the best player in the NBA. He's going to have something to say for that, etc. Um, what about Anthony Edwards? Your guy Zion Williamson, John Morant. Um, any of those guys can, if Boston does not win it, or though can either of those guys get one before Jason Tatum?
Anthony Edwards has a slight chance. I don't, you know how I feel about Zion, and you know how I feel about Ja. So Anthony Edwards is the only person that has a legitimate chance to win an MVP other than Jason Tatum.
No Halliburton, Maxey.
No.
You got Banchero. If what would they have to do for him to elevate into that launch into that stratosphere there?
Paulo would have to carry the Orlando Magic to a 2 or 3 seed. Probably closer to a 2 to be in the most valuable player of the National Basketball Association conversation.
He's 5 games out of that. 5 games out of that position right now.
Yeah.
You don't have any confidence in Paulo, huh?
I got a lot of confidence in Paulo as a player, but you said
don't sound like it.
But you said the most valuable player in the league. That's a whole other thing.
Right. Fair. So the next American-born player is you put your money on Jason Tatum.
That's the most legitimate chance of winning that. Yeah.
Yeah, him, Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards. I mean, if they were to get to the Western Conference Finals, if they were the Minnesota Timberwolves were actually able to get to the Western Conference Finals, they're not going to do it solely on the defense of Rudy Gobert or the erratic scoring of Karl Anthony Towns. Anthony Edwards would have to be playing excellent ball at that point, which would elevate his name into that category. And again,
yeah, but they cut the voting off after game 82, Cam. So all of that.
Well, I understand that. No, but what I'm saying is coming into next season, he would be recognized as he's recognized as a good player. You have to watch today, but coming into next season, if Boston does not win it, he'd be recognized as a top 1, 2, 3 person in that in position to win it, and would be looked upon as that all season long. So if he had the same type of production, now he's not. I don't think he's considered that right now because everybody's like, as yourself, you don't really believe in the Minnesota Timberwolves because you haven't seen it long enough. It's a surprise. The first month of the season, you didn't believe it. The second, third month of the season, you didn't believe it. Here we are, just past the half, just past 2/3 of the season, and you still aren't believing in what they've accomplished with him being the leader. Now, if he does this, and again carries his team to the carries his team into the Western Conference Finals, you come in as a believer next season, right?
Yeah, that he potentially can do some things. That's a good point.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. Again, if Boston doesn't win it, I don't believe in Boston. I don't expect them to win it. I expect them to cough it up at the as they have the last 6 years. So I think that leaves it open. But Tatum, as of today, Tatum is expected to win it. What's up, Boots? Your guy finally got signed. You've been screaming for the last 2 weeks. Your guy.
Oh man, has he ever? That's crazy.
Yeah, good. I mean, you must got a line right to Boris, huh? So that's all I'm saying. I don't believe Boston's going to win it this year, and that's just because what I've seen out of them. They just have the way you feel about the Grizzlies is how I feel about the Celtics.
Oh boy, please don't do that to JT like that, man. Wow.
I'm just saying that's the way. Just go back and look. I mean, they lost to the Atlanta Hawks, bro. The Atlanta Hawks took them to 6 games in the playoffs last season. No reason the Atlanta Hawks should be even contending with the Boston Celtics. Zero reason. Absolutely zero. And so for him to go up on the mic and say, I'm like, what happened? Well, this happened. Sometimes it happens like that. You're just not always there. Well, come on, you're the leader. You're the leader of the team.
It's playoff basketball, and Ice Tray can get hot. Ice Tray can get hot, and do some damage. They did some damage control, and they got out of that series.
It wasn't even Ice Tray getting hot. It was just Boston being lackadaisical, not understanding the moment and taking advantage of the moment. So I don't. Again, the way you feel about the Memphis Grizzlies is how I feel about the Boston Celtics. So I just tell you that's a pretty
that's disappointing considering that you're talking about the number one team in the Eastern Conference with potentially the MVP of the league. I mean, how can you
show me something?
Yeah, Boris was getting a little concerned about his guy, so he finally did have to take what he could get.
Yeah, Boris need to get somebody signed. Yeah, here we go, Clout. This is what I'm saying. Boston has been the favorite and still haven't done anything. I mean, this is exactly my point.
But
like, they've been in position.
What is it that they're going to do to please you? They're going to get out of the Eastern Conference more likely than not, right?
Okay.
The biggest opposition is the Milwaukee Bucks, and we don't know what they're going to do. And
right.
Doc Rivers is at the helm.
Right.
And this will be Dame's first
the Sixers are
to get to the finals.
The Sixers are at a disadvantage. I mean, so if they don't get to the finals, I don't want you. You shouldn't bring them up again. And
but if they get to the finals and lose to the Nuggets, is it a failure?
Pretty much. You gotta win. They've been there before. Why? We can't say, "Oh, this is new." We can't say, "Oh, these guys are needed to gain their experience." Right? There's no excuse for them to get there and lose.
Okay. Well, then it's an all or nothing type of situation.
It is all or nothing type of situation. I mean, if you got money on that, Clout, ooh, you're a risky dude. If you got money on the Bucks coming out of the Eastern Conference, I want to check.
That's the way it should happen. I mean, the piece that Giannis was missing was Dame, and well, here you are.
I mean, Patrick Beverly isn't Holiday, so he's not going to lock down the other guard like Holiday was, and bring you some points. So, I mean, Pat Beverly can do some things for you. He can motivate some other guys and piss off and get under the skin of your opponent. But I don't think he's going to bring to you the scoring that they may need in the clutch. Again, Clout, if you put money on the Bucks coming out of the Eastern Conference, bro, you got some huevos. We'll say that. But yeah, Boston has to win the finals for me to have any confidence in them. They have to win the NBA finals, and I don't see that happening. I don't see that. Cleveland, I will also want to touch on today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Give yourself a round of applause for being here on a Sunday afternoon. What's the weather like in Seattle? What's the weather like up in the Northwest today?
It had been surprisingly pleasant the last couple of days, but today it's back to the drizzle, back to the wind.
So what's surprisingly pleasant for February in the Northwest? I know what it is, but everybody else might not know.
55 and sunny. 55 and sunny.
Okay. All right, that's not bad. That's not bad. It was like 65 yesterday here in the central Alabama. It's supposed to be 71 today. Nice fresh air, no humidity, so that's always great. I just want to touch on that because I'm looking at clear skies out there today. Cleveland, again, let's give Cleveland a round of applause for being here and joining me this afternoon, just to give you guys some more content on a Sunday afternoon. And it's all NBA, all NBA content today. I mean, they have the skills. They have the coach may be the question mark because they have the team has the experience. The coach, he got experience last season. he got experience last season, but that might be the only drawback to what the Boston Celtics have. Their situation going into the playoffs is a lack of coaching experience. That may be the only issue. But who's he go? What other coaches is he going against? We know the coach in the Heat, Spoelstra, outcoached him in the Eastern Conference Finals. Or excuse me, he outcoached him when they played. And what other coaches is he going against? He's going to be going against Doc with the Bucks. He's going against Nurse in Philly, who can potentially out coach him, but Nurse is going to be at a disadvantage with as far as health wise. So we'll see if that coaching becomes an issue. That coaching situation might not become an issue until the final. Right?
I mean, let's not forget about our guy. In New York, he can coach a little bit. Tibbs can coach a little bit.
But you have no confidence in the Knicks. You already mentioned that.
I don't think that he can. Like I said, you're talking about getting outcoached in the playoffs, and you already know what I think about that. I mean, unless you're going up against George Karl, you're not really gonna outcoach somebody. I mean, you might do certain things, and take away, certain pass to the basket, but you're not gonna outcoach somebody. It's gonna.
Speaking of George Karl?
Yeah,
George Karl and your guy Carmelo having a little tete-a-tete this week. What do you think about the little beef between George Karl and Carmelo Anthony kind of unsurfacing? Carmelo Anthony going on the pod talking about George Karl, didn't respect him, and when they played together, he said George Karl told Carmelo, "We want you in the Detlef Shrimp role, and you're no better than Detlef."
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on that?
It sounds like George Karl. I was up close and personal, firsthand experience watching George Karl coach the Seattle Supersonics for years, and then watching him coach in Milwaukee with Ray Allen and Big Dog and Sam Cassell. So I am well versed in what George Karl is capable of doing as a coach, which is a complete total inability to make adjustments when it's counted, when it's most necessary, when it's most needed. So any criticism he has for a star player is, goes out the window. Other than Gary Payton, what is he really actually? No other star players ever really actually like George Karl. So he's way too full of himself and has not accomplished anything really.
So Gary Payton isn't distinguished enough to garner your recognition for George
That's
Karl?
the only one, but look at all the other ones. Sean Kemp doesn't have anything good to say about him. Ray Allen has it's almost as angry at him as Carmelo is. Big Dog, Cassell, Allen Iverson. No one else has had a good thing to say about him.
I mean, well, Allen Iverson was okay. So you just take it with a grain of salt. You're with Carmelo on that conversation between Carmelo and George Karl.
You start the conversation out with you're no better than Detlef Shrimp, yeah. And I love Detlef. He was a great player for the Sonics.
What did Carmelo do better
than for the Pacers for years?
What did Carmelo do better than Detlef?
Well, I mean, where to begin?
What
does Carmelo do best?
I mean, is Detlef a 1-2-3 tool player? Or is he just was he a B scorer and Carmelo was an A scorer? I know what you think of Carmelo. Was Carmelo just an A scorer, A plus scorer? I mean, and Detlef was a B plus scorer. That was it. So you give Carmelo the advantage there.
I'll give Detlef about a B in his scoring. If you're asking him for 20 a game every game, you're asking a bit much. But probably a third of the season, he could probably get you 20. Adverse Carmelo averaging 30 points a game.
Who got further in their career? I'm not sure. Did Carmelo play in the NBA Finals? I don't recall.
No, never.
Help me out. Okay. Did Carmelo play? How many times Carmelo played in the Western Conference Finals? Help me out. I don't recall.
Maybe once.
And Detlef Shrimp? Detlef Shrimp?
Detlef probably got 3 appearances and an NBA Finals appearance.
Okay. All right. So that wouldn't say he wasn't he didn't bring more to the squad, or are you going to tell me that wasn't they didn't get to the finals because of Detlef? It was more Kemp and Sean Payton. That's what you're going to do.
I mean, do I have to answer that question, or are you just going to answer your own question?
I'm asking. I'm kind of asking.
Yeah, it was more on the glove and brain
you trying to pull Reggie on me. I see you trying to pull Reggie on me.
Adverse Detlef Shrimp. Yeah, are you going to give Detlef Shrimp the credit for getting that team to the finals?
I'm asking a question. I'm trying to ask a question. Can I ask a question?
Sometimes I prefer you ask, more, intelligent questions. I mean, you're answering a question you already know the answer to. Detlef Shrimp was not the reason they got to the finals.
Okay, I mean, I just want to hear you say it.
An important part for sure, but yeah, no, he was the 3rd or 4th best player on that team.
And you're gonna tell me Carmelo was the best player on the Denver Nuggets when they went to the finals, or the Western Conference Finals,
for sure.
So, is he get all the blame for them not making it any further then?
Yeah.
And then him going to the Knicks and not being able to get to the Eastern Conference Finals that's different. That's
shifted a tad bit. I do put a little bit of emphasis on Amari Stoudemire. I don't think that was a good pickup. I don't think that was a good move.
You don't think it was a good move? What was a good move?
The Knicks acquiring Amari Stoudemire. He had never proven he could do anything other than play in the pick and roll with Steve Nash, who was a 2-time MVP, and always put him in the right position to do things. Once he got to New York, he had always been injury prone and didn't play very many games. So he kind of left Carmelo out there on an island by himself quite often.
Wait, they didn't acquire Stoudemire before they got Carmelo?
Yeah, Stoudemire went first. And then Carmelo came the year after.
But they were good when Stoudemire was there. I think he was injured.
Yeah, he was real injury prone.
Well, yeah, he was injury prone. I can't dispute that. But they were the best. They were better than they had been before Carmelo got there. And Carmelo came there. Then you expected the two to have to change fortune for the Knicks. But I think that second half of the season, their first season together, if I remember correctly, I remember it's a little foggy. But if I remember correctly, Amari got hurt, and then it was okay. Well, now, Carmelo, can you carry the squad? And he wasn't able to carry the squad, if I remember correctly. Was that not how the situation went?
Hey, man, the Eastern Conference was a tough division to carry squads back then. Got to carry him past the Pacers. Got to carry him past the Heat.
Fans, this guy would not stop washing Carmelo Anthony's shoes. I tell you what, he won't. It's as clear as things could be. Boy, you are going to wash your shoes every day of the week. Every day of the freaking week.
I just think you're bashing him unfairly. That's all.
I'm asking kind of what happened there.
You're expecting too much out of him. I keep telling you, like everybody else, if you're expecting all that extracurricular stuff that you sometimes get with your best player, then you're asking too much. It's an unrealistic expectation.
You see, unrealistic expectation to expect who Cleveland. Am I wrong in saying you think he was one of the premier scorers in the NBA? Am I wrong by saying that?
No, you're not wrong.
So it's unrealistic expectation to expect one of the premier scorers in the NBA to carry his team to a past the second round. How is that unrealistic?
I mean, that's a valid criticism. That's been a valid criticism of his career the entire time.
That's my criticism. How are you telling me that's unrealistic?
What I thought you were referring to is, his ability to be a leader and rebound and, all those other kind of things.
I can't even go that far. If you want to tell me he's a premier scorer in the NBA, get your team past to the Western Conference or to the conference finals more than once. You did it for the Denver Nuggets, and you weren't even the best player on that team. And so for you to have an argument about talk about George Karl, you weren't even the best player on that team. He was trying to fit you in a mold and get the most out of you, get the most out of your 21 points a game that he could, because you weren't doing anything else. And then if you go to New York and you can't do anything else, or unwilling to do anything else. So if all we have to rely on is your scoring, that should carry us. But no, that couldn't carry anybody anywhere. And yet, I don't know how that's unrealistic.
That's a fair criticism, Cam. That's been the biggest mark on Carmelo's entire career in the NBA.
Again, I don't understand how that's unrealistic. That's you brought Carmelo up. My conversation wasn't even about Carmelo.
No, you brought him up with his beef with George Karl.
With George
I just clarify that George Karl is not someone that should be speaking about beef with anyone.
Okay. This week, speaking of Carmelo, Kevin Durant becomes the 8th scorer in league's history. The number 8 scorer, top scorer in league's history, passing Carmelo Anthony, who now moves to 9. Cleveland, he's done this. Kevin Durant has in the least number of games played than anyone in the top 23. That was kind of amazing when I was looking at that list. He's done it in the least number of games, so obviously that he's done that faster than which of the top 40 scorers in the NBA? Got a trivia question. I got a couple trivia questions for you here, centered around this. Which of the top 40 scorers in the NBA has played the least number of games than Kevin Durant? I say there's four. There's 4 guys. Excuse me. There are 4 guys. I say you get 2 of the 4. I say you get 2.
Can you repeat the question? He asked it in kind of a strange way.
Out of the top 40 scorers,
top 40 scorers in the history
in NBA history.
Okay.
Who has played the least number of games than Kevin Durant? I say you get 2 of the 4. There's 4 guys in the top 40. I say you get 2 of them.
Steph Curry.
No, Steph Curry is actually like 45, 43 or 45. Okay. So it's not in the top 40.
Steph Curry's not in the top 40.
If you know, fans, chime in on the chat. If you know, the question is
James Harden.
No. That's 2. And the question is, out of the top 40 scorers, who have played the least number of games, who have played less games than Kevin Durant? Out of the top 40 scorers in the NBA.
Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson is 1. He played 914 games. Kevin Durant played, I think, 1,026, if my memory serves me correctly. Allen Iverson played 914 games.
Dwayne Wade.
No, that's 3. So you got 1 of the 4. I thought you get 2. I thought you get Larry Bird, who's played 897. For you, I didn't expect you to get Jerry West, but Jerry West played 932.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get that one.
And then Adrian Dantley, I didn't expect you to get Adrian.
AD, okay.
At 955. Jerry West is number 24. Allen Iverson is 28. Adrian Dantley is 31. Larry Bird is 39 in scoring, in all-time scoring. Kevin Durant, to this point in his career, Kevin Durant averages 38.7% from 3-point range. That's the best of anybody in the top 20. Anybody in the top 20 scoring, that's the best. Out of the top 50 scorers in the NBA, Cleveland, top 50 scores in the NBA, who has a better 3-point shooting average than Kevin Durant? There are 1, 2, 3, 4 guys who has a better 3-point shooting average than Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant shooting average is 38.7%. Nobody in the top 20 has a better average. But out of the top 50 scores, who has a better average than Kevin Durant? Only one of the guys are active, is an active player. You mentioned one of the guys earlier today in our conversation. So who has a better 3-point shooting average than Kevin Durant out of the top 50 scorers in the NBA?
So we bring Steph back, right? This is the part where we bring Steph back.
Steph is one of them.
Okay.
Steph has a 47.4 3-point shooting average. By far the best in the best. I should have quantified that, but that's the best number I've seen. I don't think anybody's even close to Steph Curry. 47.4, dog. Like there's cats that shoot 47% from the paint. Steph is doing that from 3-point range, okay?
You got Larry Bird.
No.
So no Bird. Okay.
No Larry Bird. I think Larry Bird he might be close. He think he's 37 something, but he ain't 30. Boots is helping you out. Boots is trying to help you out.
Nice, Boots. I didn't know if Ray was a top 50 scorer. That was kind of why I hadn't thrown him in there.
Ray is top 50. He's 40%. 40% average. I was kind of surprised by the number. I mean, I know Ray could shoot. I was kind of surprised by the 40%. Speaking of Ray, was Ray better in Seattle or Milwaukee? Boots, what you think? Was Ray better in Seattle as a Supersonic or Milwaukee? Because he came to Seattle with something to prove. He came to Seattle with a point to prove, right? He wanted to prove he wanted to prove to the city of Seattle that was a fair trade for Gary Payton for Ray Allen. In Milwaukee, he was proving a point. He was trying to prove that he had that the rivalry with Allen Iverson, and he was trying to show folks, yo, if you remember, UConn beat Georgetown in college, but he wasn't getting no love. He wasn't getting no love. It was all about AI at the time, and he consistently was going at him. I thought Ray was bad, bro. So Ray, I'm not sure.
I'm gonna say Seattle. Yeah.
He was a bad dude in Milwaukee. Ray was bad.
A bad dude in Milwaukee, and
Ray was bad.
And George Karl. Yeah. He was happy to leave. Let's put it like that.
Okay, so the question is, you got two of the four.
Third one. So I'm gonna go way off base, and I'm gonna say Mark Price.
Oh, you're way off Price. Mark Price is not in the top 50. Number one. I mean, there's two. There's an obvious one that you're missing, and then one you should be able to get this next one, and then the other one I don't think you'll get.
Top 50 scorers.
Top 50 scorers, better 3-point shooting percentage than Kevin Durant at 30. Was it 38 point?
38.7.
38.7. You right on spot, Boots. I can't give it away quite yet though. You're right.
Top 50 scorer. Dame Dollar.
No. I don't know. I can't recall Dame coming up in the top 50. That's not to say he's not, but I don't look in.
Oh, my man Reggie Miller.
Oh my goodness, jeez.
Took me a minute.
What took you so long?
I don't know. Sorry.
Sheesh.
Reg.
Dame is 46. Dame is 46, and he's in the top 50. Oh shit! You guys there still?
So there's two. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Boots was on it. Boots was on it. So there's one more guy, and I don't think you'll get this.
Enlighten us.
I'll give you a hint. Played for the Golden State Warriors. Most of his career was with the Golden State Warriors. Wait, he went somewhere else. Most of his career was with the Golden State Warriors.
Are we going with St. John's finest Chris Mullin?
No. I think most of his career. Let me see where else he played. I know he played somewhere else, but most of his career was with Golden State.
Most of his career. Then who are we talking? Tim Hardaway?
Wow, this guy is way down. He's way down in your category of shooters, huh? Sheesh. I didn't think he'd be that far. I thought that was a good ass. Well, shit. I have to take it back. He didn't play most of his career with Golden State Warriors. Wow, he played most of his career with the Sacramento Kings.
Mitch Richmond? Are you kidding me?
No, man. I thought Mitch was. I remember him most as the Golden State Warriors. I remember him most for Golden State.
No, he got traded from TMC kind of early, but I didn't realize he shot that well from 3-point range.
92 to 98. I mean, they were 92 to 98. Yeah, they were putrid, weren't they? Well, I can't remember anybody else's on those teams.
Yeah,
I can't
kind of dirty in the Billy Owens trade.
Yeah, Barry. Barry was one. Man, I can't. Jeez. I remember him most as a Golden State Warrior. But yeah, Mitch Richmond, 38.8% shooting from three. I mean, that's primarily what he was a scorer, but he was killer from three. Mitch Richmond was. So just to kind of recap, Reggie Miller shoots 39.5. Ray Allen is 40%. Kevin Durant is 47.4. Mitch Richmond is 38.7. All of these guys are better than Kevin Durant's 38.7%. I mean, so Kevin Durant is we all knew he was a bad shooter, right? Or we already knew he was a bad man and a top scorer in the NBA. So out of the top 20, there's nobody who has a who is it? Excuse me. Kevin Durant, I think, is 23, and Steph Curry is a 23. Who's at 23? Oh, Reggie Miller. Excuse me. Reggie Miller's at 23. So that's why I just say out of the top 20, there's nobody with a better shooting average than Kevin Durant. Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, Steph Curry, which is guys, just put it in context. Reggie Miller's at 39.5. Ray Allen's at 40. Mitch Richmond's at 38.8. Steph Curry is at 47.4.
And just for curiosity, what is Dirk Nowitzki at?
At his 3-point shooting range, where you want him?
Yeah.
Dirk is a top 6 scorer. His 3-point shooting is 38.0%. He's a 38% 3-point shooter. Top 6 scorer in the league, obviously. He played 1,522 games.
0.7%. Okay.
I mean, hey, is it good? Is that better or not?
It is. I'm just saying, but not by a lot.
Is it better or not? I mean,
it is, but not by a lot. That's what I was.
But he played. Kevin Durant has played nearly 500 less games than Dirk.
Right. So anyways, please continue.
No, that's where I wanted to go. I just want to I wanted to highlight that broke this down just to kind of highlight what Kevin Durant has done in his career as he's climbed to number 8 scorer in the NBA history, surpassing your guy Melo. Again, he's done it in the least number of games, so faster than 23 of the top guys. Reggie Miller being the next, in that next category. And then looking at the list of top scorers who played the least number of games, just kind of highlight those guys: Adrian Dantley, Larry Bird, Jerry West, and Allen Iverson, playing a lot less games, but still being among the game's best scorers. I mean, kind of puts Kevin Durant in the elite category, if you will, right? And then his 3-point shooting is been nearly elite as well. So Kevin Durant, I would say he has a few more seasons to go. At least 3 seasons, I would imagine. And it depends on how long he wants to play, but he'll be able to stand out there and shoot a 3 for, at least 5 more years, right? But how effective do they want to? How effective does he want to be, or will he be later on in life? You know what I'm saying? That's something you need to consider. So, fans, this is just some things I want to touch on. I had in my mind. I want to know what you guys thought about Cleveland thought about the No Bull tour. I think about those guys going down in Australia to do a tour. It's just kind of peculiar how they didn't hit the States. They didn't even go to Canada with this. Maybe they'll continue to Mexico, where nobody else cares about the NBA or knows the lineage of the Bulls and Michael Jordan.
That might be too close, Cam. That might
be a little too close. Also, just fans, what do you guys think about the parity? Hit us up at _voice of the fans. The parity in NBA right now is kind of real close. Though the Boston Celtics has an 8-game gap between them, the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference and the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. The rest of that Eastern Conference really bunch up. I think there's a 5-game gap between the number 2 team and the number 8 team, meaning that can really change over the course of the next couple of weeks. So in the Western Conference, there's a lot more parity because there's no dominant team. And do you guys like my question for Cleveland is, do you guys like the dominant team? Do you like the Warriors of the 17 Warriors? Do you like the 92 Bulls? Or excuse me, what was that? A 96 Bulls? That was 17
96.
I mean, and your guy George Karl, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, Detlef Shrimp, they don't get recognized as well because of what the Bulls did, but the Sonics won 69 games that year too. Obviously, it was the run in the Bulls, but the Sonics did have a good season, fans. So, do you guys like those dominant teams? Do you like that team that just is out and out better than everybody else in the league? I was trying to think of a Laker one just so I could hang on the Lakers a little bit, but I can't think of when did they run away with it. They didn't run away with it in 2000 when they won the
when they ran away with it, yeah.
They didn't run. I mean, that was a nip and tuck season. They were number 1 when they went into the pandemic, but they didn't run away with it. The Shaq and Kobe Bulls didn't run away with it. I mean, the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, they didn't run away with it.
Really?
Did they?
What was their record in 01? I thought it was awfully stellar.
They won 15-1 in the championship, but in the championship game. But did they run away? Were they dominant the whole season? I don't recall. I don't remember them being dominant.
That Laker amnesia. Yeah, Laker amnesia. Yeah, they were pretty dominant.
Again, they were 15-1 in the playoffs, but I don't recall them. What season you saying? 2001?
2001.
56-26. In 2000, no, they were 67-15. Okay. Okay. I mean, what was the rest of the league at that time? I don't remember. In comparison. I mean, we have to look at it.
When the Bulls do it. It's okay when the Warriors do it, but when the Lakers do it, you gotta look at the whole league. And
I gotta see how dominant it was. I gotta see how dominant it was. Come on now. You can't say
that's what every other team was doing. Wow.
Come on now. You can't just look and see and just say
how come you can do it for those other seasons, but not with the Lakers too?
Again, those seasons they clearly stood out. The Lake, come on, Cleveland. The Lakers weren't clearly they didn't 67-15. I don't remember them standing out. The things I remember about that was your guy Phil's first year with the Lakers, right? That was his first year with the Lakers. So I don't think they were supposed to win it that year. No, Phil just walked right into the job. And then Phil cracked the whip and they ended up going to the and winning the finals. They were 15-1. I give them some credit. But what were they? Let me see. I'm trying to pull up that season right now before I let you guys go, fans. I'm just curious. Cleveland, I want to think is hating. I want to see what
absolutely is hating.
I want to see what the rest of the guys did. Is that not a fair?
It's completely unfair because you didn't do the same thing for those other teams.
I don't have to. They were clearly better than everybody else. What? That's the point I'm making.
So were the Los Angeles Lakers. Clearly,
I don't know. That's what I'm about to check. I don't recall them being so.
I know, because you tend to overlook these type of things, Cameron, when it comes to the Lakers and all the stuff they've done and all the stuff they do. I know. I hear it on the show all the time.
Let me see. The Utah Jazz 55-27. Okay. Portland Trailblazers 59-23. So they were the only team that season to have 60 wins. To your point, they were the only team to have 60 wins. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams win 55 games, or win 55 or more games that season. I mean, there were some other good teams.
So that makes it even more impressive. Oh, so sorry you had to dig in and find out that in the season that they won 67, there were 8 teams that won 50-plus games. Bet you won't do that exercise for those other dynasties now, will you?
This is not a Lakers show.
Yeah, leave it there. Leave it there.
We're not glorifying the Los Angeles Lakers on this show.
Wow, yeah.
We're not glorifying the Los Angeles Lakers.
Put in mouth on that one.
Fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Cleveland enjoyed that one. Fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Sunday special. Give Cleveland a round of applause for being here. And fans, be sure to check us out at _ Voice of the Fans on Twitter, at _ Voice of the Fans on Twitter. You can check out some our columns and articles on voiceofthefans.org. We drop articles each and every week for you guys to read and enjoy. If you like what we're doing, please hit the like button, hit the share button, share this with one of your family members that love sports, because we're going to keep giving you guys more content. So in closing, fans, just want to say thank you guys for making our voice your choice. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you guys, and talk to you soon.